Welcome to The Other Side of the Bridge with Iron City Paranormal, where they discuss real investigations, first-hand experiences, unexplained moments, and everything that happens when you step off the regular path and onto the other side of the bridge. Just honest paranormal talk, Iron City Paranormal style. And now, here are your hosts, Derek Smith and Dan Metelsky.
Hey, Yins guys, welcome back to the other side of the bridge. Now, can you hear me?
We heard it this whole time. You're good.
Yeah. Oh, geez, it said it was on mute. This is our technology issues continue. My microphone was showing mute and nothing else was on mute.
We heard you.
Welcome back to the other side of the bridge. We're going to jump right back into it, apparently, because
Part two.
These computers are having other ideas. So we're talking about our evidence this week from Fairfield County Infirmary from our most recent investigation.
And we thought that we had the technology figured out here, but
we thought we did.
My internet, your microphone.
I am now wildly flustered. I had this all planned out on where we were going to start, and now it is completely slipping my brain because this is the way this works. So we talked a lot last time about the experiences that we had, just kind of fitting a very different mold from other investigations. And like I say, like we've been having this continuation of the same kind of topic through like the last few days while we've been preparing for the second episode and actually uploading evidence, getting things to pull in, getting things to present correctly. We want to kind of run on that same train. It's going to be like, what do they call that big boy train that's going around the States right now? The massive steam engine. That is kind of like what's happening right now. It's just a massive steam engine of ghost emotions that are just running us over.
Ghost emotions.
Ghost emotions.
Trademark that one.
So if you haven't watched last episode, first of all, what the heck is wrong with you? Go back and listen to the first episode covering the history of Fairfield County Infirmary, what makes it haunted, and, you know, kind of get the lead into what we're talking now, because we're just going to go roll right into these things.
Yeah, I mean, the first one was mainly our experiences, right? Our stories, what we felt and
yes.
saw, but this is everything we captured. I mean, we kind of teased it last episode, but we do want to just kind of jump right into it, like you were saying.
So first of all, smash that like button if you like to be teased with evidence, because that was the last episode. We teased it, we tantalized with what was to come, and now we actually got StreamYard that we broadcast this through to play nice, and I was able to actually get things so we could show it.
Only took how many days?
It took way too long, to be perfectly honest with you.
So anyway, welcome back.
Welcome back to the other side of the bridge, where nothing makes sense, and it won't after an hour.
So where do we want to start, guys?
So I think we should walk this through in the same pattern or timeline that we ran the investigation.
Sure.
Right. So to recap slightly, when we started when we started this investigation, the night of, we started around 5:00. We got the walkthrough from the tour guide. That got us about an hour and a half in. By the time we got our own walkthrough video and actually started to investigate, it was closer to like 8:00, probably like 7:30, 8:00. And as we had discussed, the first place we wanted to go to was the elusive maintenance area, the maintenance room on the first floor. But with the way that you come into the building, it actually seems like it's the basement, right?
It throws you off. It really does.
It truly does. You know, to the point where we had a poll up on our Facebook page prior to our investigation and said, hey, you know, for our viewers or our followers, give us something that you want us to try while we're there. One of the things that a gentleman named Mayor Mark had put out was for us to go to the basement by myself, rather, for me to go to the basement alone and do a session. Well, there was no basement, so I got lucky and didn't have to do that. But I did have some time alone in the maintenance area.
It's kind of how we started it.
Yeah, just like while we were getting equipment set up, I was the lazy butthead and just went in and sat on a milk crate or something and just kind of.
You were tired of waiting. You were ready to go.
No, I was ready to go, but I was also just kind of, and Aaron can attest to this, that you kind of just need a little bit of time to like center yourself, right?
Yeah.
So I needed to get out of the, like, we were joking around and carrying on and like talking about what we were going to do and where we were going to go. And I kind of just needed to get my mind focused on what the investigation entailed. So I took that little bit of time to actually start to run voice recorders in an attempt to capture EVPs. So this was actually at the very beginning of the night, right? We started it this way. I don't know why we kind of got away from it, because we did pick up some things that we'll let people listen to here shortly.
Well, it was because of the energy just kept moving. I mean, anytime that we got started, it just dissipated. It went away, and we kind of tried to move with it, or tried to anticipate those moves. I think that was a big part of it. Yeah.
So this area here that we just put up the photo. This is kind of the larger section of the maintenance area. Obviously, there's lights turned on in this. It's much creepier and much darker whenever these lights are turned off, because there's no outside windows in this area.
It's dark. I mean, it's black. It's pitch black. You can't see anything.
Yeah. So this room on the left-hand side, we have our EM pump, the ghost buffet, as it's affectionately known. That is this device sitting on the floor here, running and emitting an EMF, which provides energy for spirits in theory. That was running in the hallway, and then in this room to the left is where we were sitting when we first started the EVP
That's
session.
The room that we were discussing that the tour guide just kind of paced. she bolted right down this hallway and tried to avoid that room at all costs.
Yeah, she didn't want to come into this whole yellow area, right? Like, that's the door that you're looking at is actually where she had stopped when she was giving us the tour, and that's where she paused, and then she like collected herself and then hightailed it through here. So she passed this whole room, and then we were kind of left to our own devices later on. That's of course where we wanted to go first, right?
Yeah, so that helped, and I think you being in there by yourself, kind of going back to that point of liking smaller groups, you entering that room on your own seemed to do wonders, especially like right off the bat. Because if you see that whatever you want to call that box over there, the three of us were kind of standing over there, just getting things set up, right? Getting trail camera set up, getting the handheld camera set up, getting the obelisk, K2 meters, all the good stuff kind of to prepare and get ready. And that's when you went in the room and just kind of started talking by yourself and introducing yourself, Yeah. And that's by yourself is when things started to happen.
Yeah. And I don't want to make it sound like we weren't appreciative of the people that joined us, but
no, that's not the case at all.
No, it was very much going back to our roots, right? Like when we first started doing this, there were two of us, and then Aaron, when you joined us, there were only three, of course, but then we had another three people with us, so it was a little bit larger of a group than classically we are used to dealing with. Like the three of us, for some reason, we are able to get a little bit more activity at some of these places.
Well, it could be the whole centering ourselves and being more focused when there's fewer of us. But I mean, who's to say?
Yeah, I think when we get more than that, at least for me, I get kind of pulled out of focusing on the investigation, and like I get pulled into that expectation of like we have to put on a performance.
Right. And you want everybody to have a good time, and
like I because we ask people to come with us. We don't charge them anything extra. We cut it equal for all of us. So like what we pay is what everybody else pays individually. So we're not making money off of it. So it's not so much that like I have to give you what you paid for, but I kind of feel bad asking people if they would want to drive 3.5 hours to come sit in an empty building and have nothing happen, right?
Yeah, it's you always want to push it a little bit to make sure that everybody gets their experience out of it, right?
Yeah.
And we thought that they were going to right off the bat here, but as soon as we added more people to this area, it was strange how it just stopped.
Yeah. So the first one that we had gotten was when I was sitting. This is just an audio, so you're just going to hear the EVP over this. There's no video. This is when I was sitting in the room alone, asking if there would be anybody that would be wanting to come and interact with us. And this was the first EVP that we got. We listened back to it and heard this, and this is why we continued in this area.
While they're getting some stuff set up to talk to you, I just wanted to come in and have a chat with you to see if you'd like to talk. My name is Dan.
So it's a little bit difficult to hear.
It's still a whisper. I mean, a whisper is a whisper, and it's so difficult to enhance it.
It is, and you can hear. This is what I want to talk quite a bit about when we listen to these as we go through this episode. Is there is a very stark difference in the way that our voices sound on the recording, and the way that the spirits are coming through on the EVP, right? Because they are not standing in the room saying it out loud.
Right, we don't hear it when we're there. The only time we hear it is when we play it back through the audio device.
Right. So it's almost like they're imprinting onto the device. So you'll tell very stark difference between the quality of our voice, and not only on this one, but all of the ones that we're going to play tonight. There's just a very clear difference between, let's say, living in dead, or living in potentially dead, or living in God only knows. So I'll play that again, and then before we tell you exactly what it says.
While they're getting some stuff set up to talk to you, I just wanted to come in and have a chat with you to see if you'd like to talk. My name is Dan.
So, of course, you can always go back and replay this after this posts on our YouTube. But what we gathered from this is that says, "I'm not interested." Right? So that was, I think it's clear. I mean, I know that it's like, that's what we think it said, but now I want you to listen back to it, like later on, now that you know.
With that in mind,
right.
That's always one of those things we don't want to say it ahead of time, because then you kind of lose some of the. I mean, you have the pareidolia aspect come into play,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't want to be guided too much, but we also want to make sure that everybody knows what we're hearing, how, and the context of it.
Mm-hmm. Do you hear that, Aaron, when we play that? Do you hear "I'm not interested"?
I don't. I hear a whisper,
Okay.
but you guys know I have such a hard time hearing the stuff over the audio.
It's definitely an acquired skill, and,
Mm-hmm.
and Derek has mastered that skill. I'm slowly picking up on it.
Don't worry, Aaron. We got one for you later on.
Yeah, that one. The one at the end of the show is what did I call it prior to jumping on this? The penultimate. It's the penultimate EVP for this.
I mean, it's literally the best thing that we've ever got. I mean, it's the clearest thing we've ever got.
It really is, and I'm super excited to let everybody listen to it. So when we listened back to this in the real time, we heard something. We couldn't ascertain what it was saying because the speaker is unclear. Like, it's a small speaker and you're in a big space, and it's like you can kind of hear something, but you can tell something was different. So we kept running with it, and then we picked up this EVP, which until you figured out or like put an opinion to it, it kind of didn't make sense to me. But now that you did, it really does make sense.
Took some digging.
The woman walking us through did not care for this area. She said she had some experiences in here. Just curious if you know anything about that.
And keep in mind,
that's clear.
You were alone in that room still.
Yes.
I mean, that was.
So I'll play it one more time because it's very clear when it
The
says
woman
what it
walking us
says.
through did not care for this area. She said she had some experiences in here. Just curious if you know anything about that.
So this is what we had talked about on the last episode with the German that actually came through.
Correct.
How do you pronounce that? Rick Zeig? or Rick Sect or something like that.
Riksect, yeah.
Riksect.
Yeah.
Which is
And
essentially get in line.
Fall in line, I think, is
Fall
in
the
line.
phrasing to it. But it could also be another phrase too,
There's
which
another
it
phrase.
still it means the same thing basically.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, honestly, we didn't. I think Aaron, you picked it up first. Whenever we were like just sitting there listening back, you were like, "What is this?" Because it didn't sound like English.
It was so clear to me, and we knew that it was like German or something. Like there was no way to hear that and think that it was English in some way.
Right.
But it just I think I just kept on repeating over and over to you, like Rietsek.
Yep.
What is that? Like Rietsek is what I'm hearing.
We didn't even figure it out at the time. It took some digging after the fact, and then that is at the point that we kind of applied it to, okay, who would have spoke German, and then we find out that the superintendent had a German heritage. So you kind of start putting those things together, and then you combine it with the earlier EVP of, if I'm not interested, he wouldn't have wanted to talk to us. So, I mean, all of those things combined really, really kind of fit that mold, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's very much that loose thread, right? Like you pick up a loose thread as far as the narrative is concerned, and there is a little bit of puzzle piecing that it takes to make sense of things sometimes. But again,
absolutely.
That's what's fun when you're investigating, is kind of like tying up those loose threads into a story, right?
Yeah.
So that was the voices that we got in here, but we did also get some knocking after everybody joined me in the room, including Sabrina, the medium. When she came into the room, she heard some knocking or shuffling behind her where there was nobody. And we did capture that as well.
Something back here.
So there it is. So it's like right at the beginning.
And I did have to edit some certain verbiage out that you
expertly
used.
done.
So that kind of all squished it together. But we all heard something at the time. And we all kind of jumped. We were startled. But it was strange because we did try to listen back to this at the time. Like, what could this have been? We even looked for things on the floor, on the wall, something that could have caused it. It didn't even come through on the recorder until we enhanced it quite a bit. So knowing that it was there, we looked for it. But if we didn't have that experience, who's to say how many other things like that you don't catch.
Right. Yeah. And so while we were in here and capturing those EVPs, we did have other devices running. So this is inside that smaller room where we were talking, where I was sitting and we were doing these EVPs. We had a K2 meter sitting here just by itself with our ovilus next to it. And when we say this was sporadic, this was very sporadic. These K2 jumps, and the ovilus only said like a word or two that entire time we were in there.
The word was meaningful, though.
It was meaningful. And I can't remember if we talked about that on the last the first discussion about Fairfield, but I think we did. But the word that came through, for those who haven't watched it or don't remember, the word erase came through on the ovilus, which at the time didn't mean anything to us. But then when we got up into the equipment room, Aaron and Derek listened back to, they went to listen back to the audio from that session, and they couldn't find it. They were deleted.
Knowing the whispers and voices that we heard, you can understand why I was so panicked that we lost those files.
Yeah.
I mean,
especially now.
I mean, and nobody hates losing things as far as evidence more than you, Derek. I mean, your world was shattered.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like I said, my face probably went like stark white. Just like, what do I do now?
Yeah. So, I mean, it was great that you found it, and it also extremely intriguing that you had to do what you had to do to get there, right?
Right.
So after we left the maintenance area, things had died down. We weren't getting any more EVPs. We weren't getting any equipment interactions.
The atmosphere even felt different.
The atmosphere, we use that word, shifted a lot, right? the atmosphere just completely changed, and for a lack of a better term, it died. Right? It just completely became comfortable. Which, when you're investigating, the last thing you want is a comfortable environment, because it like your spider senses aren't tingling, so to speak, and you're just comfortable there. And that's something that you brought up a lot, Aaron, when we were here. It's just like that comfortability, if that's a word, that kind of set in quite often.
Yeah. You'd go into a space and it just felt content. Like there was, I don't know, you could just sit and hang out in some. And there's a lot of times where we go to some of these places that like, we don't want to sit and hang out in any of these rooms. But this particular time, even this maintenance room, I remember a little bit later in the investigation, us going in there and just being like, I'll just chill in here. This is fine. Like there was no spike in energy. There was nothing. It was just very even keeled.
So we went, after we left this area, we went back, to the equipment room just to chill out a little bit, but then also order pizza, which was very important that we do that. While we were getting pizza ordered and waiting for the delivery guy and everything, Sabrina went outside and took a break, and she said she came back in and told us that she told me, I think Aaron and Derek, you guys were off in another part of the building by that point.
Yeah, we got antsy. We went into the coffin room, which it was pretty dead there. Where's my clap?
I'm not that quick. Say it again. Here, just say it again. I'm ready now.
It was dead.
Oh my god. Too much.
Sabrina was outside. She had looked up into one of the wings and up onto the third floor, and she counted, I believe it was the fifth room off the left-hand side, looking at the outside of the building. She said she had seen these lights moving around inside the room.
Which there was nobody up there. I mean,
you two were down on the first floor, and then there was nobody else in the building at that point.
And even our equipment, like we had trail cameras set up, kind of all over the place. We usually pair up like a REM pod or a cat ball or a K2 meter with those trail cameras, but there was no light up there that would have made any sense that it could have been our equipment.
Yeah, so those lights were coming from this area, which is the third floor of the building. This room that was being discussed was the second light beam coming in down the hallway. So the first one was not the room, it was the second one down is where she had said she had seen these lights. When I walked up, I was the first one up onto the third floor. Walking into this area, I had goosebumps all over me. It was an energy that I haven't felt in a long time doing an investigation. We went to the room, did not find anything, of course, because it's not that easy, and ended up just sitting here for a little bit. We didn't get any intelligent communications. We did get some cat ball activity on the floor. Whether or not they were anything of credibility, we can't say, because they weren't like on command or anything. So we kind of
it was sporadic again, like the A2 meter was downstairs. It was the same thing.
Right. So we spent a little bit of time here, but like I said, we didn't waste a ton of time, but we did get some, what I think is residual sounds with footsteps.
We did spend some time discussing that both there and after the fact, and I think that's really the only thing that makes sense.
Yeah. So we'll play this audio. It's a little bit hard to hear on this one because the footsteps were actually coming from this end of the hall, like where the picture is being taken from, and we were closer to that second light beam coming through the doorway. So the recorders are a fair bit away from where the sound was coming from, but you can hear the footsteps, and also, just again, I do think that it's residual, but we'll play this for you.
Are you hearing those footsteps down there?
Yeah. That sounds pacing.
Yeah.
End of the hall.
Car.
It was a ghost car. It was a ghost car. So you can hear those, and I know you amplified that audio a little bit, Derek, just to point it out.
Yep.
It was much more clear and apparent at the moment than that voice recorder picked up.
Exactly like you said, though, the voice recorder was so far away. It was kind of right in the middle of the hallway, even down from where we were sitting. But everybody could hear it. I mean, you even heard Andrew's voice in there, who made his cameo, audio speaking. Everybody heard it. We were all sitting up there. Everybody noticed it, recognized it. We were all kind of facing this direction, like towards where this shot was, thinking that we were going to see something.
Yeah, it's something to know.
I got to run into the ad break here.
All of us were at the same place. Like, we were all in the hallway, and every single one of us was sitting down too. Like, every once in a while we'll have these times where, like, some of us are shifting or standing or doing whatever, which could account for this. But every single one of the 6 of us were sitting in this hallway while this was happening.
And here's the proof. We had the camera sitting here. You can see my giant ugly feet that I was an amateur and stuck my my feet in front of the camera. So you can see we're all sitting. Like, there is nobody down at the end of this hallway. There's Andrew's sitting on the right. You can see him shift his feet a little bit there. But you can see the cat ball in the background on this video move. Ayla's sitting on the left here. And then there's that cat ball on the floor that moves. And Andrew is just staring at it, right? But this is when we were hearing the footsteps. So you can see we're not moving around. So we do have to
ad break.
Yeah, we do have to run the ads real quick. So stick with us, and we'll get into the more interesting parts of the building that were later in the night that really started to, drive home this discussion of, like, they like the EVPs. We'll get into the chapel area. We'll touch on the incredible Estes session that we had there, but then we're going to wrap it all up with the morgue area where we got the super clear EVP that we'll tease and we'll tantalize for a little bit longer. So stick with us after the ads, and we will be right back into it.
Every ghost story and creature feature lies a far more terrifying truth. The real monsters wear human faces. In the chilling book, All Monsters Are Human, from Derek Smith, 10 Twisted Tales expose the darkest parts of a human soul. From killers hiding in plain sight to obsessions turned deadly. Each story invites you to step into a shadowed world where morality unravels, and the only thing more terrifying than what lurks in the dark is who. These aren't just horror stories. They're reflections of ourselves, showing what happens when fear, rage, guilt, and desire take control. Visit unexmedia.com for more information on All Monsters Are Human from Derek Smith. And you can purchase them at Amazon.com from unexmedia.com. The new book, How to Research a Haunted House by paranormal investigator Margie Kay and professional researcher Violet Wisdom, is now available from Unex Media. This one-of-a-kind book explains how to do research on a house with uncommon methods and resources used by historic home researchers, and how to determine who may be doing the haunting and why. How to research a haunted house can be used by homeowners, renters, investors, and it should be in the library of all professional paranormal investigators. Get this unique book at unexmedia.com or Amazon.com. That's unexmedia.com or Amazon.com. The truth, it's out there, and it's waiting for you. The Unexplained Network is your source for the best in paranormal programming, live video streaming, and audio streaming from hauntings, UFOs, Bigfoot, cryptids, and the ever-expanding realm of the unexplained. Listen live or on demand now on Spreaker, Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeart, and Pockets all over the World Wide Web. The Unexplained Network, where unexplained lives.
So welcome back. Okay, so the next area that we're going to get into, I'd like to go to the chapel, which was the end of the night. But this was where we got an incredible Estes communication, an entire session. It was quite some time that we were talking to this individual there.
It was, yeah, and I didn't realize how long it was, because when I'm in there, I get so lost, right? Like when I'm under the Estes like that, I have no idea how much time has passed, right? And I think that when we ultimately looked at it, it was what, like 50 minutes, 45 minutes, something like that.
Yeah, it was quite a while, and it always makes me laugh because you are in complete sensory deprivation the entire time. And my favorite thing to do is after we're done is let you know we're done by scaring the living hell out of you by grabbing your leg or something. That's my favorite.
Yeah, and yelling at me, shining lights on me, the norm.
The norm.
Hey, yeah, I was Derek sent me some text messages today whenever we were discussing this episode, and he sent a video of me flashing my extremely bright flashlight at him, and
I had no idea.
And I shield myself by saying that was my attempt at checking his sensory deprivation to make sure that he couldn't see light, which it did work. It was an effective experiment, but it was also me just being very tired because it was about 3 o'clock in the morning by this point. So this video here is during the Estes methods. We were in the church, and you'll hear.
I mean, how did we lead up to this, right? Like, what was kind of the reasoning that we got to this point? I mean, it was feelings, because we split up, right?
We did,
at first,
yeah. So we split up. We split up initially into, originally it was going to be the three of us and the three of them going somewhere. But as we do, we instead decided to split up girls and boys. So the boys went somewhere else and the girls went somewhere else. So myself and Sabrina and Ilo started in the mechanical room that we had talked about earlier, trying to see if we could get anything else out of what was there. Mm-hmm. And we got absolutely nothing, with the exception of Ayla, who was at the doorway that would lead to the chapel. She was kind of standing in the doorway, and as we were in the mechanical room, she just kept on saying, "Hey, why don't we go over here? I keep hearing something back here." And so there was something that was making shuffling noises and making, like, pulling her attention back into this chapel room. And so the three of us decided to end what we were doing in the mechanical room and shift that way. And when we did, we started getting some pretty significant, like, we did get some EVPs that we heard at the time in terms of, like, just little whispers and things over the EVP. But we also started getting something that would respond to the flashlight. So we started asking her questions, started getting more information. And from everything that we had done so far, this was probably the most interactive spirit that we had dealt with. And so at the end of the night, when we were trying to figure out what we were going to do, myself, Sabrina, and Ayla really encouraged us to, like, let's go down here because this person really wants to communicate. So that's how we ended up down in that chapel room.
Yeah, so the picture we just put up on the screen, this is what they believe was the chapel back when this was the Fairfield County Infirmary. I will say that it could be the connotation of this being a chapel, being a place of worship or whatever. This picture doesn't quite do it justice because this was taken during the day and it's got a decent amount of external light coming in. But even when it's dark, I felt very comfortable in this room. I did not feel like there was anything like ominous, so to speak.
Agreed.
So that's interesting, Aaron, that you also felt that way, because I felt very, and it could have been that there was a super comfortable couch in this room, right? But I just felt like I wanted to hang out here.
Yeah.
So when we were spending time in the morgue, you girls were down here doing your EVP session, and this is where we ended up coming back at the end of the night, because you were picking up repetitive names on the obelisk, as well as through, was it the spirit box?
No, it was mostly through the obelisk, and then it was like through the EVPs that we were getting and the interaction on the flashlight.
Yeah, okay. I think it was mainly the flashlight and obelisk, because
yeah.
You guys ultimately ended up telling them, "Hey, we're going to come back, with a different way to speak to you."
Yeah.
So I think you guys had picked up the name Mike a couple times on the obelisk and on your EVPs prior to us actually doing the Estes.
I believe so. I'd have to go back and listen to our recordings, but I believe that had come through, and then some female names had come through as well.
Yeah, there were names like Pam and Sarah, I believe, that came through.
Yeah, there were a bunch of people that were pushing through, but ultimately, whenever we got down and we sat down to do the SC session, we believed it was one person that was pushing through.
Mm-hmm. So, Derek, this is the right video here, right?
Yeah. This is the first one. I kind of compiled this as I was kind of on the move, so it's a video combined with the audio. But pay attention to the audio on these. That's kind of what we're paying attention to here. We overlapped, so you're going to get a lot of spirit box noise combined with the room microphone.
Okay. And the video is from the day, so this wasn't actually when we were doing the
That's
Estes.
correct. This was from the walkthrough. It will give you a good idea of it, and then there will be some videos of the darkness that we went into.
Yep.
Cool. Was not good.
So that is Derek actually in sensory deprivation. That is confusing the way that's layered. So Derek speaking was from the Estes. There was no sound when we were doing that Estes, and then you have the spirit box layered on top of that. That spirit box was what you were hearing in the headphones.
So, and I'm surprised I'm not deaf, because that is loud, and it's just like the constant just shh, that white noise. It's just it's constant, but that also helps pick out those words.
Right. So that was a method, if you want to call it that, or just an approach that we had developed a few years ago. We didn't develop it, right? We just kind of like put technologies together, and when we do the Estes, typically we as the people that don't have the headphones on never could actually hear what Derek was hearing through the headphones. So we put a splitter on our spirit box with one line going to his headphones and then the other line going directly to a voice recorder. So we still can't hear what he's hearing at the time that we're doing this. We just hear an empty, a quiet room.
You hear my voice basically,
and just what Derek's saying, right? Exactly. Yep. So you had this woman coming through, or we had this woman coming through saying that I was not dead, something like that, right?
Yeah, that's what we got from this point.
Yep. So going into the next, this will start to show you a little bit of what the atmosphere was like during the time in the chapel with the Estes. So we have Sabrina and Ayla are sitting here on the left-hand side of the room. Derek is over in this black abyss that is the right side of the video.
Well, no. So this was actually just from the girls. This was their some of their flashlight stuff. I again, the way that I put this together, I clipped some of the videos so it would combine the videos with the audio. So again, you're paying attention to the audio here. These are just some video clips that we like to share.
I'm telling you what, I thought the technology concerns that we had on the last episode and early on this one was going to be the hard part. the way that you have this laid out and the way that you have this all like stacked on top of each other is just as difficult.
It's the SDs that really throws it off.
Yeah.
And that's no shot. Like it is kind of fun to try to play along. So this video, okay, so this is not during the SDs. You don't see my wide butt on the couch over there. So this would have been the same room. So this is the audio. Okay, now we're on the same page.
What is your name?
Mary? I was crying.
Were you crying to try to get someone's attention so that they know that you weren't dead when they buried you?
4.
Mary, who is Monkey?
Husband?
Didn't hear you, did he?
He knows. Paid them.
So you get a glimpse there at the end of the actual SD session. So again, it's the audio that we're paying attention to here, not the video clips that were kind of thrown together last minute.
Yeah.
But
So you said that this female that we were speaking with said that she was crying. If I heard that, I was crying.
Yeah, she gave us her name at the beginning. She gave us Mary at the beginning, which didn't appear at all earlier on in the night. So then from there, it's I was crying alone, and then we got the name of Mike again. I believe it was actually Mikey. So you had asked, why you were crying alone, and then once that name came through, we had no idea who Mikey was, so we were asking, and we ended up being told that he paid somebody. So again, confusing at the time, but if you start putting those puzzle pieces together that we were talking about, there's she wasn't dead. She was buried. He paid somebody to bury her. So, all of those things start to fall into place, and it's really a tragic, sad story. And it's no wonder why she pushed through.
And the part that got me in this Estes communication was when she said she was buried. We had asked where she was buried, and the response that she gave us through your headphones was standing. So we believe that this individual that we were communicating with was one of the people that was buried on the property, standing up outside of that pillared area where we were talking about the last episode. So starting to put the story together. So we have a woman named Mary whose husband came through on the Ovilus, I believe. Her husband was named Mike. He paid people to bury her and essentially just get rid of her. So they buried her alive is essentially what the story seems to be telling us. So she was not dead. She was screaming for help. Mikey, I think we kind of, by the end of the night, we put it together. That was possibly her son's name. So Mike was the husband. Mikey was the son.
Right. And it was confusing at one point because it was back and forth between baby and I believe baby came through, husband came through. So it was confusing for us to put those together.
Yeah. No, it really was. But in the end, it made sense. Like it was not jumping around. Like it sounds like all of these things were coming through, like a little bit here and a little bit there. Well, no, it was like she was telling her story in timeline order. It was just, it's broken because she's not speaking full sentences. She's giving words, right? Potentially because of the difficulty for her to interact with the device. She can't just say a paragraph. She's not using ChatGPT to tell her story, right? She's just getting through what she can.
And imagine how much energy that takes too. So you got to gather the energy to relay that message.
So this last part here is the last leg of this Estes, correct?
Yep, this would be the last one.
Mary, what can we do to help you move on?
Tell them.
You want us to tell people about what happened to you? We can certainly do
Help
that.
me.
Okay. Would it be a help to you if we told people about you? Would it help you cross over?
Probably.
Mary, are you done telling us what you needed to tell us?
No.
What else would you like to tell us? Can you give us your last name?
Today.
Today is your last name, or you are asking if we want you to tell us today?
Ashton.
So that was the only thing that we got that kind of resembled a last name, right? Ashton
Correct.
or something like that.
Yeah, and it was weird because we had the word pounds come up numerous times throughout the night on the obelisk down here. I knew on the spirit box too. So we had actually asked her at one point, like, is pounds your last name, right?
Mm-hmm. That's
just trying to put the pieces together again. She at one point just was a clear no.
Yeah. Yeah. So one of the things this is what sticks with me, Aaron, as well about this is when we were trying to wrap this up, something that you said afterwards, like, really stuck with me, that this was actually one of the first Estes methods where you got a sense that the spirit didn't want to stop.
Oh, no, she didn't. Yeah. And I get that mostly from, and I don't know if we have clips of it, but like, if I'm remembering correctly, there was a couple times where you would try to transition out of the Estes and just let her know, like, hey, it's the end of the night. We're trying to, and she would literally, I want to say some of the responses that we got were like, no, please, I'm scared. Like that. And those messages were coming through like rapid fire. That it was almost like she was begging us to stay and help her.
You're right. And when we don't have the clips for this, but what we do have, it will be on the website. And yeah, you're right. And that's part of the reason that, we ended up, the Estes lasted so long. Because like you're saying, I mean, you can hear it at the end. It was these pleas for help and, don't leave. And she just was going to keep talking.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So in due fashion, as we always are, we're, we have a little bit of time left, but we definitely want to make sure that we touch on the next area, which was right before we did the chapel. We were actually in the morgue. And this is where we got one of the clearest EVPs, if not the clearest EVP that we've ever captured in our 10 years of investigating. We were in there. Nothing was interacting with any of our devices. While Aaron, Ayla, and Sabrina were in the chapel to speaking with this potentially Mary, trying to start to talk to her. The three of us, myself, Derek, and Andrew, were in the morgue area, just trying to see if we could get something over there. Running a voice recorder with nothing else, and because we weren't getting anything, we kind of just took the time to just talk about nothing, right? We were kind of just going through our paces like we would if we were sitting at home, just having a conversation. Because we have had luck doing that for some reason, whether it stirs up energy just by like not focusing on them, not like taking the attention away from them, make them feel a little bit more comfortable. But we did leave a voice recorder while we were doing that. And I had made a comment about the fact that I hadn't gone to the bathroom since 5 o'clock that evening, and it was like almost 12:30, 1 o'clock, and I hadn't peed that long. And I have a history of kidney stones, so I was just making, and you could hear the stream running under the building, and I still didn't have to go to the bathroom, and I was concerned that I was going to get kidney stones again. Like, this is what just like three guys
banter, right?
Abandoned morgue talk about, right? But when we started to talk about kidney stones, I actually asked you and Andrew if you guys had ever experienced that before and had kidney stone, right? The most seemingly the most innocent kind of conversation, which meant nothing. And that's when we captured this EVP. So you'll hear, again, the juxtaposition between the quality of our voice and then the quality of the voice that comes through on the EVP here.
Thought you were having those?
Yeah.
They suck.
So I was asking you guys if you've ever had a kidney stone and that they just suck. And we did not hear this, but in the EVP, you actually very, very clearly hear a female come through and just be part of the conversation and say, yeah, she's had that happen.
So wait, Aaron, did you hear that one?
Oh, yeah. I mean, Dan came running into the room with this, and I about dropped the recorder whenever I listened to it. It was so clear. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the most excited that I've ever seen him
ran
mid-investigation.
Into the room.
I was so because up until this point we weren't getting that wow factor, right? And
that was it.
I was losing faith. I was concerned that everybody was losing faith. So the second that I heard this, I was like, I have to spread the news. I want to shout it from the rooftops of what just happened to let you know that there's hope still.
Got you ever had one of those?
Yeah.
They suck.
But it is just remarkable to me, not only how clear it is, but how definitely female that voice is.
Right.
And Derek has dressed in very pretty clothes, and he has done his hair in very pretty ways at times.
I don't think I can sound like that.
He does not sound like a woman. And Andrew is hardcore not. Right. I mean, he's got a deep voice. He is just not somebody that can even make a sound like this. So, I mean, it's just, a testament to how sticking with things and trying to change the way that we approach the investigation, how it pays in dividends sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Not
and
all the time, but sometimes.
It opened up more,
It did.
And that was just kind of the starting point of that room.
Yep.
Got you ever had one of those?
Yeah.
They suck.
Oh God, I get chills when I hear that. I love it so much. Well, guys, we're running out of time here. We still have a couple minutes. Just kind of wrap it up, right? I mean, we had some things happen. We didn't have nearly the awe factor, the wow factor that we had the first time we investigated here. We did have something fall in a room beside us after that EVP that we captured that we just played. There was something like a little stone or piece of cement that was either fell from the ceiling or was thrown and bounced off the table. They used to drain fluids.
You can clearly hear it, and then it took some time to watch it in a video, but we did end up finding that small piece of whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
So it was clearly there. We weren't making that one up. We weren't group hallucinating or anything. So that was another interesting one. It seemed like it was attention seeking.
So what are your thoughts on this place, Aaron? I mean, we really hyped this up.
Yeah.
Right. And it wasn't what we expected, but what did you think of it?
I think that there's so much, but I think that the entire place was very tired, and you could feel that. You could feel it in the engagement that we had, that there was the potential for more engagement, and it just didn't have the capacity to do it. I think that one of my favorite parts of this investigation was after the investigation was over, Dan, and you and I were going to look for our missing recorder that we couldn't find anywhere. We are very particular about our recorders, right? We always know where they are. We were packing up at the end of the night, couldn't find a recorder. Dan and I went to go look around. We ended up finding it sitting in the middle of a bench on the way back. We passed by multiple times while we were looking for it. None of us had stopped at this bench. Nobody had sat on this bench, nothing. And then we went in, and if I'm not mistaken, Derek, wasn't there something that was on there that was also erased from that recorder? It
was the exact same scenario where we had to recover those as well.
And it was just it was so interesting, right? It was just so, it was such a cool experience at the end. Cause you could feel you knew that nobody had set it down there, and it was just sitting in the middle of the bench waiting for us.
We had walked by multiple times while you and I were looking for it. And it hit us in the face. It was sitting right there. It wasn't
the rest of the group, I was with them. We were all packing up the equipment,
Yes.
And it's how does that happen? How does anybody pass that and, not notice it, and it's insane. And I think your reaction in the moment said it all too, just where did that come from?
Right.
Yes.
So, guys, I loved it. There's a lot more to unpack on this investigation that we unfortunately do not have the time in this format to go over. So, for a shameless plug, our website, ironcityparanormal.org, within the next week, the entire investigation will be posted on our website under our investigations tab. All of the raw information, like all of the raw videos, all of the raw audio, the write-up as far as what we think we heard and all this kind of things will be on our website. So follow us on social media, Iron City Paranormal. We will let you know whenever that is posted, and then our website, ironcityparanormal.org. We appreciate everybody joining us once again on the other side of the bridge. If you heard or saw something that we may have missed when you're reading through the investigation, if there is something that stands out to you and you want to let us know, comment on the videos, comment on the website, send us an email, ironcityparanormal@gmail.com. Let us know what you hear on what video. We love hearing those different perspectives from people that weren't directly involved in the investigation and kind of have that purely unbiased viewpoint.
We're all linked to it, so we won't miss any of it. I mean, one of us will notice it, probably send it around the group, like, oh my God, how did we miss this? And, it makes for a good talking point.
It does. So, guys, until next time, stay curious, stay respectful, and remember, sometimes the search for answers really begin after the investigation ends. We will see you next time on the other side of the bridge. Thank you so much for joining us once again. And again, I say, toodles noodles, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Take care.
Guys.